What is going on, everybody? It's your observant lineman, Uche Nwaneri, and it is Hump Day. And we are here on the Tiermaker Week 15 live stream. Appreciate everybody who is here to check out the live stream. Had to reset, basically, the Tiermaker chart. It wouldn't allow me to pull up the saves when I had. So we'll run with it. We'll use the teams as they are down here, and we'll just kind of reconfigure as we go. But make sure you are smashing that like button and subscribing to the Observant Lineman if you're new to the channel. And if you are already a member or already is subscribed, think about hitting that join button. Going to be doing some interesting perks for my members who join at the top tiers, and also perks on the other 4 tiers as well. But definitely consider that. So week 15, it is week 15 in the NFL, and man, it's getting interesting. It's getting interesting. Teams that are supposed to win aren't winning. Teams that we have doubts about are surging, and then there are some that have solidified themselves. One of those teams, I think personally, Buffalo. Buffalo has kind of solidified themselves as a true contender. Obviously, you got Kansas City, which is a team that's really, it seems like they're on a crash course with either Buffalo or maybe perhaps the Steelers out of the AFC. But let's get to this tier maker. Let's look at the schedule for this week. Let's see what we got here. First game up Thursday night, we got Chargers at Raiders. Chargers at Vegas, Los Angeles at Vegas. And really this game is a weird one. This is a weird one because obviously the Chargers aren't as bad as their record would have you believe. They're a little bit better than 4-9. They're having some issues with their coach, Tony Lynn, who is kind of mucking things up a little bit for the team. So right now, 4-9, last in the division, but they could easily have 2 or 3 more wins, getting them closer to 500. Las Vegas obviously lost in their last game against the Colts, got smashed by the Colts. That set them back big time in the wild card picture. But I think, obviously, with the Chargers, looking at this, I wouldn't call them basement dwellers. I'd call it, they're still, I mean, as long as they got Justin Herbert, I feel like they're still party crashers. I feel like they still can be party crashers. But I think that's a safe spot to have them at right now, party crashers. Now, for the Raiders, their playoff scenarios have gotten a little bit complicated. And they're going to need some help. They are no longer, I mean, they're not in control of their destiny, obviously, and they're basically, they're looking on the outside. They're on the outside looking in. So if I had to really call it, I would definitely put them, I'd put them 1 win away. No, I'll put them at party crashers because I don't think they're going to be able to, make anything happen. So we got 2 party crashers going against each other, and I'm actually picking the Chargers to win this game to kind of seal the Raiders' fate. That is what the party crasher does. The party crasher throws a big monkey wrench into the plans, and that definitely is something that the Chargers, I mean, that's what they're primed to do right now. They're primed to be a party crasher because they ain't going to the playoffs. They know that. They got a quarterback who looks like he's going to be a star, and they got some pieces. Now, they need some help on the defensive side, but party crasher is what they are right now. I think that's fair to say for them, and really the pressure is on the Raiders, and I just don't think they can get it done. I think they're getting close, but they need another year. Saturday matchups. We got Buffalo at Denver, and Looking at this on the Tiermaker, I think Denver is actually in a worse position than the Chargers are. They don't got a quarterback. I think we can all agree with that. They don't have a quarterback. Things aren't necessarily going the way that they would have expected in Denver. And really it's been a disappointment because we thought we saw some movement with Locke at quarterback, and it just, he's streaky. He's streaky. He's got a 54 QBR. Let's see what his stats look like real quick. 13 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. He's 34th. He's 34th. Not even 32nd. He's 34th. And he's tied for 23rd with touchdown passes. I mean, this kid, whoa. This kid is, he's just not producing. And I mean, look who he has behind him though. Blake Bortles, Jeff Driscoll, Brett Rippon. I mean, not exactly the quarterbacks that you want leading your offense when you're supposed to be a team that's looking to compete in the AFC. So I think this one's pretty simple to call. Buffalo's gonna dominate this game. They should dominate this game. They're 10-3. They should dominate. We don't know though. We don't know. That's what we hope. Everything is pointing in that direction. Unless there's a letdown of some sort, I really can't see a scenario where Denver is able to pull it off. But we know with Buffalo, they've been making some noise. And I think these guys are sitting at the top of the list right now. For the moment. These guys they've had some huge statement wins. Got to go through them. It's not even Pittsburgh anymore. That's the crazy part about it. In 2 weeks, things have flipped. In 2 weeks, things have flipped. That's how it is. That's how it is in the NFL. Any given Sunday. But right now, they're sitting on the top of the hill. They're sitting on the top of the hill. Next game up, we got Carolina at Green Bay. Ooh, prime time in Green Bay in Lambeau Field. Nah, Carolina doesn't stand a chance. They don't stand a chance. And I'm keeping them. I'm going to keep them in party crasher mode. I'm going to keep them in party crasher mode just because with Carolina, they have talent. They're like the Chargers. They have some talent. They're missing big pieces. Christian McCaffrey, obviously, not playing. So that's a big part of their offense right there. But I'll keep them in the party crasher mode. They're not crashing nothing today or this week, but we'll keep them there. We'll keep them there. Green Bay. I mean, Green Bay's doing Green Bay. And I put Green Bay up here knowing that there's a fair chance that when it's all said and done, they're going to disappoint. But I'll give them their props for right now. Green Bay's up there at the top as well. They're up there at the top as well. Got to go through them if you want to make it happen in the NFC. Next game up, Tampa at Atlanta. I don't really know what this game, I don't know what the stakes are for this game. This is an 8-5 team that is 2 games out, 2 weeks left. I don't know. I do not know. It's really, I mean, these Bucks are just a hard team to really like have a conclusive thought about because you don't know what team you're going to get. You don't know what team you're going to get week in and week out. With all the weapons that they got, with all the offensive firepower, with all the big names, They're 8-5. They're 8-5. That's disappointing. Tom Brady. Tom Brady's been streaky. He's been a part of the problem. He's been a part of the problem. "30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions."
I got the laptop.
Dang it. Get out of here. 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. And honestly, to me, it feels like more. It feels like he threw more. Just watching the games, it feels like he's good for a solid pick or two every couple of games. I mean, that's Tom Brady right now. 70 QBR. I mean, it's still. I mean, look, there are a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL that would love to have that stat number right there, 30 and 11. But for everything they got, I feel like it should be more like, if it's going to be 11 picks, there should be like maybe 36, 37 touchdown passes. That's what I feel like. And I just don't think that I think that Tom Brady, if he plays another year, we'll see for sure if his presence there is enough to make Tampa a contender. Atlanta, I mean, we all know Atlanta's a mess. Atlanta isn't just trying to keep my job. They've been there for a while. And I'm going to put the Bucs I'm going to put them at 1 win away, because they're still fighting to get into the postseason at the wild card, even at the wild card. So 1 win away for Tampa, just trying to keep my job in Atlanta. And I'm calling Tampa coming out of that one with the win. San Fran at Dallas. San Fran at Dallas used to be one of the biggest rivalries in the NFL. Two teams that played against each other in the NFC Championship game back in the 90s, like 4 years or 3 years in a row. But now, it's relegated to just afternoon television with no real stakes in the event itself. I mean, both these teams are not making the playoffs. Both of them have a lot of questions that need to be answered. Hell, some people might even. I mean, I could see a scenario where Mike McCarthy gets fired after the season if they drop their last couple games. I could see that scenario. Ooh, that would be ugly. But as far as where they are in the Tiermaker, I mean, look, real is real. Both these teams are just trying to keep my job. And I'm going with San Fran beating the Cowboys because I grew up a San Fran fan. Next game up. What's going on, chat? Who's up in there? I see Logan Dolan. Subhuman. What's going on, Sub? Aiden. The Bears won. Yeah, come on, man. The Bears, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in a minute. The Bears are literally, we'll talk about it in a minute. I don't want to get ahead of myself on that one. But yes, they did win. Let's see who else. What else? Boy, this chat is dead. What's going on? Let's go. Let's interact. Jeez. Okay. What I wanted to play for the 49ers. Ooh, I knew Joe Staley. We trained at the same spot coming out of Purdue. We trained together for like 8 weeks. So me and him were real cool. Yeah, I definitely would have loved to play for San Fran. Hell yeah, that would have been great. But let's get into this next game. Detroit at Tennessee. Detroit, they lost Matthew Stafford, right? X-rays negative, but status up in air. Ooh, rib injury. If they sit him, it's guaranteed. Tennessee's going to stomp all over them. But if he plays, it'll be a game into the fourth, but they'll still probably lose by 10. On the Tiermaker, Lions are in. They're hanging on and just trying to keep my job. They're just hanging on. Tennessee has shown some resilience. They've shown some resilience. Should have a shot, but arrows actually pointing up. They could be up there and got to go through us first right now. They could be. They've shown some resilience. They lost to the Colts, then they avenged it. Lost to the Browns, then they came back and smacked up on the Jaguars, of course. But they've been resilient. I just like their style. They remind me of the Jags when I played for them. Like we're running the ball downhill. You're gonna have to stop us. We didn't have as good wide receivers. We had Justin Blackman for like half a season, a year. But he was a beast, no doubt. But they've got a little bit more in the way of passing attack. Tannehill's doing his thing out there. But Tennessee definitely got the arrow pointing up. Definitely have the arrow pointing up. Looking to see them representing that AFC South. Next up, we got Houston at Indianapolis. That's gonna be a close one. I would say don't get it twisted with the Houston Texans record, because this is a division opponent. Division games are always one-score games, generally. And late in the season, when Houston can be a party crasher, this is a dangerous game for Indianapolis to just come in there thinking because they're at home that it's gonna just roll their way. The ball's gonna bounce their way. It's really, this could be. I mean, look at T.Y. Hilton's numbers. 604. What are you doing? Wow. Has he been hurt? 46. Has he been hurt? How many games he played in? I don't know. Oh my goodness. This thing gets me every time. I don't know if he's been hurt or not, but his numbers are terrible. He must have been hurt. He's got to have been hurt. He's got to have been hurt. But this is a dangerous game for the Colts. This is a dangerous game. I mean, if they fuck this game up, they're out. They're going to be out of it. I mean, they're hanging on barely. I think they lose the tiebreaker. But I'm going to go with these Texans. These Texans they've been fighting. They've been more competitive. I'm going to put them at party crasher. And these Colts are really one win away. So, that makes it a dangerous game. Like, this is like they're one loss away from ending their season and being down here as a party crasher. One loss away. All right. So I'm going to go with Houston in this game. I'm going to go with Houston. I'm going to say that Houston gets the win. I'm just going against the grain with that one, so don't hold it against me if I'm wrong. But I think Houston's going to get that win. I think they are. New England at Miami. Next matchup. Ugh. New England. Oh, my goodness. 6-7 never felt so bad. It never felt so bad. These cats don't have anything. When I say they don't have anything, they don't have anything. Their quarterback, trash. Receivers, trash. Running back, trash. O-line, trash. Defense, Woo! It is not looking good for Belichick. Now, does that mean that the myth does it mean that it was a myth that Belichick made Brady, and really Brady made Belichick? I still don't think there's a conclusive answer to that, because if you look at Tom Brady in Tampa Bay, they have way more talent than the New England Patriots do. Way more talent. They got better players at every single position on offense. And on defense, minus one or two guys, they've got a better defensive unit than the Patriots. I'm talking about Patriots proper defense, with including guys who opted out, like Chung and some other cats. But it's really crazy that on both sides there's disappointment. If you're looking at it for what it is, on both sides there's disappointment. Brady is somewhat struggling in Tampa. Tampa can't keep any kind of good rhythm going. And Belichick is like scrapping, like literally they just trying to win a game. However, they ain't even like fuck the game plan. Let's just win, because we can't throw it because our quarterback can't throw. We can't run it because we ain't got no great running back. We ain't got great receivers. I mean, we got to do good on special teams. We need a special team score every week. Something. Shoot. Something. They're barely getting by. I mean, look at this. Whoever remembers seeing the last time seeing New England third in the AFC East. They're not even second. They're not even tied for first. Like if they had their original, if it was Brady and Belichick, 2018, 2017, they got any other team having the same kind of year they're having this year, like Buffalo, they're just barely keeping up with New England in any year like that. So, even when other teams have good seasons, they're still in second place behind the Patriots. And now the Patriots are third in the AFC East. Well, I tell you what, they about to get smacked again, because Miami is going to roll their ass out. Yeah, I think Miami's going to roll them out on this one. New England is just trying to keep my job, and that's metaphorically speaking with Belichick, because he won't be fired. We know that. He's going to get a few years, I would assume. He's not going to be fired. He's going to retire. Nobody's firing Bill Belichick. We all know that. But Miami has been playing some damn good ball. And right now, I got Miami in good for a cameo. I got them. These guys have overachieved. I got them in that position because they've been overachieving. They've been playing, even though they didn't win their game against the Chiefs, they still had a good showing, minus, 8 minutes in the third quarter. But they're playing good ball. They're playing good ball. So I keep them there. And I got them beating New England at home. Next up, Chicago at Minnesota. Doesn't it suck to be a Bears fan? Doesn't it suck to be a Bears fan? Because the worst thing you can have as a Bears fan right now is hope. If you have hope as a Bears fan, your life expectancy is not going to be as long as you would like over the course of decades of that kind of anxiety, because the hope of the Bears to be better each and every year is just dangled in front of your faces for about 3 weeks, ending the season, finishing strong, looking like they got something to build on, looking like somebody's finally taking a step upward. And then you start the next season and it just never happens. Never happens. Trubisky had a heck of a game. Trubisky had a heck of a game against them Texans, didn't he? Look at this. 24 for 33, 267, 3 touchdowns. Outperformed Deshaun Watson, the $150 million quarterback. Mitchell Trubisky. And it's crazy because it's just a mirage. It's all just a mirage. You're gonna get baited back into the trap. You're gonna bite the cheese. You're gonna take the cheese. Don't take the cheese. These Bears are 6-7 hot garbage. A hot garbage 6-7. A hot garbage 6-7 Houston Texans. So all this stuff you see here that they did to the Texans, no, it's not. Don't hold your breath on that being signs of life, because I just don't think that that's the case. I just don't think. I just don't think that's how it's going to work out. These guys have shown in the games that mattered that they ain't got it, and now y'all took on a beat down Houston that was coming off of a devastating loss, and they think they got their groove back. Going into Minnesota, they lost to the Bucs, but they've kind of been surging. They've won 5 out of their last 7. And they were in that game against the Bucs. I mean, they just had a kicker that just blew he blew something before the game, because man, he sucked. He sucked. So that's gonna be this is no walk in the park. This ain't even like this is gonna be a game that comes down to, can Chicago stop Minnesota's running game and Dalvin Cook? Because it's not going to be about Trubisky throwing for 3 touchdowns and 300 yards. It ain't going to be about that. We know that. And these are both teams that are really at this point party crashers. Actually, yeah, party crashers. Yeah. Party crasher for Minnesota. Party crasher for Chicago. And I mean, they're getting together and they're having a party. I mean, so they'll find a way to get the cops called on them. One of the teams will find a way to fuck it up. Next game up, Seattle at Washington. Now this game is looking a lot more interesting than it would have looked 3 weeks ago. Washington, if I am not mistaken, 4 wins in a row. Looks like Ron Rivera is that culture is catching on, at least on defense. That's for damn sure. Because if I'm not mistaken, and I might be, let's see. Dum, 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 dum. Ooh. I think, let me see. Let me check this real quick. Let me see what their defense is ranked. They've got the 4th best defense in the NFL. They got the 4th best defense in the NFL. They're 6-7. This team is overperforming. They're overperforming. They were a punchline at the start of this season. Washington was a punchline. The redacted team, redacted name. They were a punchline. But even in the first week of the season, if you were watching, and I actually broke down film on the Philadelphia Eagles in that game, and their defensive line was just shredding Philadelphia's O-line the entire game. You can go check on my playlist, Trench Warfare. Check my Trench Warfare playlist. That has the Carson. I did a Carson Wentz O-line breakdown for Philly, kind of explaining Carson Wentz and his situation. And that was one of the main breakdowns I did was off of the Washington game, because them cats were they were all over them. And their defense has been playing like that all year. They just haven't had a quarterback to really, bring stability to the offense. And I mean, they went through a rut. They went through 5 in a row after beating Philly. But they've won 4 in a row. They've won 5 out of their last 7. I think Washington can beat Seattle. I think they can beat Seattle. And and Seattle is going all the way to Washington. Oh yeah, I think I'm picking Washington. I'm picking Washington. And if they win this game, right now they're a party crasher. Just because, hey, you're still 6-7. I can't put you up in like 1 win away, because that means well, you know what? They're leading the division. What am I talking about? They're leading the division. That's crazy. NFC East is just a fucking mess. My goodness. 6-7. And they're number 1. And I mean, let's see here for a second. Oh, they lost to They lost to New York both times, so they can't lose. If they lose and New York wins, then New York takes first place. Dallas is still last. Oh my gosh. Philadelphia is even mathematically still in it. Philly? Who does Philly have? Philly got the Cardinals. They can win that game. Then they got the Cowboys. They can win that game. Okay, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. Philly can win these games, but I don't expect Philly to win these games. They can. They can win, but I don't think they will. They beat the Saints, fair enough, but let's look at the rest of y'all's work. If y'all can pull out these wins, if you're Philly and you can pull out these wins, then we know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that Carson Wentz was the biggest reason that this team was struggling. Because, look, these are all one-score games. One-score games. All their losses are one-score games. This one's 9, but one-score games. That's a turnover. That's an interception. That's a fumble that becomes a turnover. Those are usually things that come from the quarterback. I mean, look at his QBR, 44. But I digress. Washington, they're 1 win away. They're the division leaders. And I think that they beat Seattle. And Seattle, my God. I mean, I know they got back on track last week, but let's have a look-see here. 9-4. I think they're running into a buzzsaw. This is one of the best defenses in the NFL they're going against. And look, the Seahawks don't have a good defense. So Washington should be able to put some points up. They should be able to put some points up. We'll see. We'll see. But that's a huge game right there. This is a huge game because Seattle's trying to keep pace. They're second right now behind Los Angeles. I mean, which I don't think anybody would have really expected. Arizona's on the outside looking in. They need both these cats to just start dropping L's. And hey, it could happen. But I think that this is a bad game and a bad matchup. I really think this is a bad matchup for Seattle. And Seattle, at this point, for me, there should have a shot. But I think they lose this game. No, you know what? No, I'm not going to bet against Russell Wilson. But I think that Washington has a good chance at winning this game. Seattle has the most drop back passes of any team in the NFL this year. The ball's going to be in the air a lot. Fourth ranked defense, you don't get to fourth ranked without getting some turnovers. That's how you get to be a top 5 defense. You stop the run, you get teams off the field, and you create turnovers. That's how you get it. So that ball, they're going to have plenty of opportunities. It's going to be interesting. My gut is telling me Washington. The stats say that it should be Seattle, but my gut tells me Washington wins that game. My gut tells me that Washington wins that game. We'll see what happens. I'm calling it for Washington, though. Jacksonville at Baltimore. Oh, God. I don't even think we need to really even talk about that one. Jacksonville. Woo, woo, woo. Basement dweller. Nothing good going on in Jacksonville. Baltimore coming off a big win. That's momentum, but I still got them right here. Good for a cameo. I don't believe it because when you play against a good defense, or a defense that actually understands how to shut you down, which the Browns had it was a shootout. There was far too much scoring going on in that game for the Browns on their defensive side. You can't give up 42 points to the Ravens and say we ready for the showtime. No, you ain't ready for the showtime when you give up 42 points and you have the players you have on your defense. You don't do that. So they had their shot. They didn't shut them down, but the other teams that are contenders in this conference, in the AFC, they have shut this cat down. They've shut him down. So really, they could have just as easily lost to Cleveland, but I'm not buying it. I keep them at good for a cameo, but they're definitely gonna drag Jacksonville. We all know that, so we don't even need to go too much into it. New York at Los Angeles. This is another one. Tank division is gonna be in tank division. This is tank division down here. Shout out urinating tree. Tank division here with the Jets. They're 0 what? They're 0 forever. Who cares? They're going into LA. Oh, that's a cross-country flight. Oh, to play in Los Angeles in Sophie Stadium? Oh, yeah. They're going to take that L. And the Rams should have a shot. You know what? I'm going back to this Washington thing. They got to be up here. They good for a cameo because they're number 1 in the division, right? In their division. That gives them a big boost. That's a big time boost for them. But Rams over Jets, obviously. Philly at Arizona. This is another. Like I just said before about Philadelphia. This is a must win. This is the most must win for them to keep up if they want to even have a shot. And it's crazy that at 4-8 they actually still got a shot. Technically speaking. But Jalen Hurts at quarterback, we'll see. He had a big game. He hasn't been on film. Y'all know what I say about players not being on film. If you're a quarterback that comes off the bench, it happens all the time. It's generally easier going if you're a player that's actually worth their salt and is ready to go in. Jalen Hurts knew that he was going to be the starter. He got more reps. He got more looks. He got to see defenses. They got to formulate a game plan around him. He had 109 yards rushing. He had decent passing stats. But now you're on film. And it's late in the season, so that actually works to your benefit because it's going to be harder for a defense to formulate a game plan to shut you down. But they've got something for mobile quarterbacks. Every defense in the NFL has something for mobile quarterbacks. Whether it's a spy, whether it's add-on blitzes, rush lanes obviously are going to be wide. They're going to keep him inside, try and keep him in the pocket, make him be a passer. If he tries to run, collapse on him, or have a spy, somebody sitting underneath, kind of playing midfield on those crossing routes in the middle, but ready to step up if he decides to run outside of the pocket. So Jalen Hurts is, he's gonna have a chance to continue to make plays, but he's gonna have to make plays because the defense isn't gonna just lay down for him. Arizona had a little clip. They fell off a little bit. They got a win against the Giants, it was a solid win, but they dropped 3 in a row. Ooh, things were looking good for them a month ago. Things were looking good. They had won 4 out of 5, and it was looking good. Now they done lost 3 out of 4. Ugh. I think 7-6, maybe next year, Arizona. Maybe next year. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna give Philly this win. And I'm gonna bring these Cardinals. These Cardinals are party crashers. And Philly, you guys are party crashers too. Nah, Philly's just still trying to. Nah, they got the win. I'll give them that. They're party crashers for now. Could change. Next up, Kansas City at New Orleans. Whew. Boy, this would have been a fun game had these bums won last week. New Orleans drops the game to the Eagles, and now, this game is essentially meaningless in the grand scheme of things because there are enough games ahead of Tampa for it to not matter. But seeding is still everything, and they had a chance to lock in that one. They had a chance to take that 1 seed, and they blew it. You blew it. Taysom Hill, and I think we kind of all knew that while they were experimenting with him, we didn't really buy that he was going to be a prolific passer. If Sean Payton could make him a prolific passer, that would have been some Belichick level shit in in helping a quarterback grow. If the talent was there, then it's there, but it still has to be nurtured. And Taysom Hill just kind of wasn't, he wasn't that dude. Lost fumbles. He is a tool. He's a Swiss Army knife. You use him for a little bit of everything, but not just one thing. Quarterback for him, I would have been running, if it was me having him at quarterback, knowing that Drew Brees is hurt, we're going to be running the ball at least 25 times a game. And 12 of those 25, he's going to be running the ball. Have him running the ball forward. Have him running read options. Have him running, QB draws, QB bootlegs. Get him out of the pocket. Maybe even run some wildcat. Short passes. Only thing going deep is off of play action, and you either throw it to the end zone or you throw it out of bounds. There's no in between. You either throw it to this cat for a touchdown or you throw it out of bounds, because we don't need you over here trying to read defenses like you're Drew Brees, because that you are not, my friend. And lost a little bit there. But yeah, I think that this would have been a lot more fun, a lot more of a fun game to watch had they not blown that game against Philly. Because Kansas City, we know what Kansas City's bringing to the table. We know that it's going to be a 35-point game, especially with the nuclear weapons they got all on their offense. I mean, Kelsey has the most receiving yards of any receiver in the NFL. He's got like the most receiving yards. The tight end. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. But you know, I actually think Kansas City blows New Orleans out. I'll just be honest. I think that they blow them out. So I got New Orleans on the Tiermaker. I'm going to keep them at good for a cameo just because they're winning their division. Kansas City, obviously, they are sitting in the creme de la creme. And I'm picking Kansas City in the game. So next game up, Cleveland at New York. That'll be Sunday night. Cleveland, this is This is not going to be an easy game for Cleveland. It's not going to be an easy game. I mean, they're coming off of a big loss, which can lead to another loss from that hangover from losing. And really, depending on who's a quarterback for the Giants, I think, you know, this could be a game where they could fall into a trap. Yeah, it's a trap. As far as the Tiermaker goes, New York is definitely sitting. They're sitting. Yeah, you know. Ooh, they're one win away. They are one win away. They are one win away. Literally. They're one game behind Washington for the lead in the division at 5-8. So they're playing for something. They are playing for the postseason. Now, is Daniel Jones, I mean, I know he's got a hamstring. I mean, they need to, you know, what are they going to do? Colt McCoy got you a win. Colt McCoy, who I didn't even know still was playing. And this is another team that has won they won 4 in a row. And, you know, they lost to the Cardinals, but they'd won 4 in a row. This is a team that's surging late. A team that's finding an identity, dare I say. This is not going to be an easy game for Cleveland. I'm going to go with the Giants. The Giants are playing for something, and the problem with Cleveland the problem with Cleveland to me is that whenever they start to look like they're actually going to be contenders, they get a little bit cocky, and then they show us why they're not contenders. And, you know, you had a beaten and battered and bloodied Baltimore team that you could have really made a statement with by beating, and you didn't win the game. So now it draw like we like you, but we don't know. We still don't know. You got a loss against a quality opponent that was struggling. So, you know, that's definitely, I think that it draws doubt. I think that I have doubts about Cleveland. I don't believe them. I'm going with the Giants for the win. I'm going with the Giants. And y'all are both one win away. I'm going with the Giants, though, on this one. I want to see what happens in that NFC East. It better be interesting at the end of the year. All right, and we got our Monday night game. Last one here on the Tiermaker. Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Pittsburgh, they've kind of put themselves in a bad spot because really all of the issues that this Pittsburgh offense has had with their running game over the course of this season has been ignored because they were winning. And now they've lost 2 games in a row, largely because they're one-dimensional. And these are 2 games with similar scores, which means I'm probably sure that there's a few things that played out the same way in this game. Yeah, look at that. 37 passes, 2 interceptions, 187 yards. That's 21 for 37, only 187 yards. 10 carries, 18 yards. That is what I wanted to see as far as stats on this Pittsburgh, on this loss to Buffalo. They cannot run the ball. You can't win in football very long without being able to run it. That's just X's and O's. If you're going to be one-dimensional and not even efficient at that, what do you? I mean, how did y'all get to being 11-0 before y'all lost these 2 games? We've seen it the whole time. We've been seeing it. I've broken down their film. Go check in the Trench Warfare playlist. I broke down their O-line film against Dallas. Was that Dallas? Yeah, I think against Dallas. I broke down film. Their run blocking is horrid. They don't move anybody on the line at all. They move. They bounce their feet. They pitter-pat their feet, but they don't actually move guys in the run game. And that goes across the board. They just don't really move guys in the run game. In the pass game, they do actually have pretty good technique from what I could tell. Pretty good technique, good with their timing a lot of times in the pass game. But eventually you start getting different looks, different blitzes that stretch thin your O-line's ability to be, to pick up everything. And that's what the Steelers have begun to falter with, is that they're not fooling anybody. We know you can't run. So we ain't even worried about it. We got coverages for days, and we're going to blitz you. I mean, now let's look at their other loss. Washington. Look at this. Look at this. 53 passes, 33 for 53, 305, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. 4 carries, 15 yards. How are you gonna win? I mean, look, Washington doesn't got a run game either, but they ran 14 times and they got a touchdown out of it. So the run game actually paid dividends for them. But they ran 14 times. They had 4 attempts. 4 attempts. Maybe more. I don't know. But this is the attempt leader right here. And that's 4 for 15. This is a one-dimensional team. Their record is almost irrelevant because of it. Because at the end of the day, you can bet you are better. You would be safe to bet that these guys can't rush for 60 or more yards in a playoff game, because not only because they can't, because they don't want to. So that really gives you one aspect of the game to put most of your game planning attention into. And that's stopping their pass. Well, all they do is throw short routes. All that Pittsburgh does is throw short 3-yard routes. They go deep every now and again, but Ben doesn't have the same arm strength this year because of that injury that he had last year. So they're really limited in what they can do. But when you're limited in that way with his throwing ability, which he still can throw the ball, but he's just not able to get that big push on it down the field. How do you compensate for that? You run the ball. You get a running game going. You actually run the ball. Takes the pressure off of it, and it allows you to see the holes in the defense better when you pass it. They already know what to expect with Pittsburgh, and that's why Pittsburgh is probably not going to make it out of their first game in the playoffs, in my opinion. And they're going into Cincinnati now. Let's not. Let's not fool ourselves here. The Bengals are 2-10-1, and Geno Atkins was one of the best D linemen I ever played against in my career. He was really good. I don't see these guys really, I don't see this being, it's a rivalry. So, one would assume that there's going to be a lot of physical, good-spirited, hateful play from both of these teams. I think Pittsburgh wins it, but I think it's going to be a game that comes down to the wire, to the fourth quarter. So, we'll see how it plays out. But, that is what it is. And Pittsburgh, 2 losses in a row, the way that they've lost and the way that their offense looks so sloppy and so one-dimensional, yeah, they're good for a cameo. These boys, they sitting low. I got them in basement dwellers. But, they have a future. Maybe. So that is our Week 15 Tiermaker list. We've got our entire setup. We've looked at the matchups for this week. Next week we'll come back, and hopefully this Tiermaker site won't reset my entire shit again. So we'll be able to come back and look at where we are and rearrange as necessary. And hopefully, maybe next week I have one of the members on my channel on the podcast with me, and we do the Tiermaker together, and we can both bring our opinions to the table on each matchup for Week 16. So make sure, if you haven't joined as a member of the offensive line, the Observant Lineman offensive line, make sure you hit that join button down below. I'm going to hopefully pick one person to come on the show next week and do the Tiermaker with me. So look forward to that. But also make sure you hit that like button, and definitely looking forward to seeing how this week plays out in the NFL. It's going to be interesting. There are some big games that are going to be played this week, and playoff implications are always on the line this late in the season. It's a December to remember. But that's going to be it for me. I will catch you guys on the next one. Everybody stay safe out there. Much love. And I will catch you on the next stream. Peace out.